Welcome to Business Casual. I'm your host, Nav Nanwa. The Mississauga Board of Trade is celebrating 55 years this year in 2016. And to commemorate this wonderful anniversary, they are holding a masquerade ball taking place on April 14th. And joining me to talk about the anniversary as well as the event, I have joining me from the Mississauga Board of Trade, Sonia, Ojha, as well as past chair, actually just last year of the Mississauga Board of Trade, Jeffrey Percival. Thank you both for joining me here to talk about this wonderful event. 55 years the Mississauga Board of Trade has been in existence, and what a 55 years it's been. And I got to ask you, what is the excitement that's currently going on across the board when it comes to the upcoming Masquerade Ball? And Sonia, we'll begin with you.
Well, first of all, I think our Lifetime Achievement Award winner is Gil Moore of the band Triumph. So for those of you who are of that age who may know the band and remember them, he was the drummer. And to introduce Gil, we have Tom Cochran.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
wow.
So we're super excited about that. We've got some great entertainment. There's going to be lots of companies there, and if the internal stakeholders is the ones you want to meet, that's the place to be.
What impact would you say the Mississauga Board of Trade has made in its 55 years of existence? And Jeffrey, being that you are a past chair, I will throw this question to you.
I think the importance of the Mississauga Board of Trade is it's essentially the voice of business in Mississauga. It is the place you come to if you're growing your business, if you want to make connections, if you want to network, if you want to get through red tape that may be at the government level, if you basically want to have a place to go to get together with like-minded business people and help your business grow and prosper in Mississauga. Joining
me right now is the recipient of the Lifetime Business Achievement Award at next week's MBOT Masquerade Ball, but he's also the founder and owner of Metalworks Studio, and you might even recognize him from being the drummer of popular, legendary Canadian rock group Triumph. I am joined by Gil Moore. Gil, thank you so much for joining us here on Business Casual. An absolute honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Nav.
I think you're the first person I ever shook their hands in front of them on my show, which is great. I'm speechless. But Gil, I have to say, you're someone who is a huge staple in the Mississauga community, an absolute legend when it comes to Canadian rock. But you're being recognized next week for your business contributions to the city of Mississauga, mainly through Metalworks Studio. And I got to say, before we jump into Metalworks, being part of a really successful rock band and now transitioning to run your own business, how was that transition from being a rock star to an entrepreneur?
It wasn't as hard as it sounds.
Okay.
Honestly, Nav, with Triumph, we took a very, very organized approach to what we were doing, and to some degree, we ran it like a business.
Yeah.
It's an odd comparison, I suppose, but a lot of bands were really disorganized, and we weren't. So you still have a big staff. We had a road crew of 25 or 30 guys with us on the road. We had trucking companies, laser companies, pyro companies, sound lighting, the whole ball of wax. So it's like a traveling circus. So, you learn some business skills keeping that thing, turning over every week and going from city to city. It's a lot of moving parts.
Being that we're in the month of April, it's officially tax season. Yes, it is income tax season. And, what do you need to do when it comes to filing your income taxes? That's what we're going to be talking about here on today's episode of Business Casual. And I'm joined to talk about this topic he is a senior tax consultant for SRJ Chartered Accountants, Junaid Usmani. Junaid, thanks so much for joining us here on Business Casual. A very exciting topic. I think a lot of people get nervous around this time of year when it comes to filing their income taxes from last year. But before we jump into that, give the viewers some background on some of your experience, because you're really the tax king.
Thank you very much for the very kind words in the intro. Certainly. So my background is I have a master's in taxation from the University of Waterloo. I completed that back in about 2005. Since then, worked around at a couple of the Bay Street firms, got bored fairly quickly, and eventually left that, started our own practice. Me and a couple of good colleagues, we started up our own shop about 5 years ago. Since then, things have been going really well, and it's been a pleasure going to work.
So I have to ask, Junaid, being that you are a tax expert, why do people get nervous around this time of year?
It's the uncertainty around it, and the funny thing is, it's just because a lot of people, they go on Google, they try to become a tax expert with a 30-second Google search, and all of a sudden, you don't know what can come back to bite you in the butt later.
Yeah, because, I find with taxes, people around, before this comes up, or I guess at the end of last year's tax season, you typically just go back to living your life, and sometimes when you're your own boss and run your own company, or even when you work for a major company, you don't really sometimes keep in mind some of the expenditures that you're having out there. And then as soon as April rolls around, you realize you have to start reporting things to the government. It can get a little stressful.
Certainly, if you're not prepared for it,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And that's the key thing, is making sure that you're well organized, well prepared, and you know what you're getting yourself into.
Recently, the FBI was looking to Apple to get some information from smartphones related to the awful terrorist attack that took place in California, which killed 14 individuals. And it really sparked a conversation around privacy and data encryption, and just whether or not that kind of data should be handed over to the authorities if they ask for it. And here to talk with me about this in further detail, I have our resident business casual analyst, Sushil Tailor. Sushil, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, because when I was thinking about this topic, I was thinking about who should I bring on to really talk about this, and I remember that you are a developer when it comes to your day life. I'm sorry to expose you here over the air, but once I was like, hey, Sushil, you want to come on the show and talk about this incident with Apple and the FBI? You ran to the opportunity because it's quite the topic if you think about it.
Oh, definitely. Right now, we're having a big debate on the importance of encryption and whether or not we should get in the way of privacy in order to help out with security concerns. But it looks like a lot of the debate is framed the wrong way, and it's framed the wrong way because oftentimes the FBI, lawyers, the judicial system, judges, they don't understand how the technology works, and what that often ends up happening is you end up with directives or regulations or court orders that make no sense. So I mean, if for example you wanted to regulate a car from crashing into people, assuming that's what happens, you wouldn't regulate the wheels to be square, would you? Right?
Yeah.
And oftentimes when it comes to government policy related to technology, that's what ends up happening. You have these bureaucrats, you have these authorities going to developers and saying, well, we want you to make it like this. And then developers who, spent years learning, this stuff and learning the architecture and how things work, all they can say is, no, we can't.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, with the FBI issue, they're saying, make this happen or else you guys are in trouble.
Yeah.
And with that, you end up with a situation where nobody wins.